Men, let's be real. Every guy wants to know the one thing he can say that makes a woman feel drawn in instantly. Not a line that sounds rehearsed, not something she's heard 1,000 times before. I'm talking about words that spark her emotions, grab her attention, and make her feel like she's talking to a man who knows what he's doing. That's what this video is all about. Here's the truth. Women are wired to respond to words differently than men. While you might value logic, quick solutions, and straightforward answers, women are more in tune with how things make them feel. If your words spark curiosity, admiration, or excitement, she'll lean in. If they fall flat or feel empty, she'll pull back. The difference between success and failure in the dating world often comes down to how you use your words. But don't confuse this with sweet talking or fake compliments. Women can smell insincerity from miles away. What actually works is knowing the right kind of statements that cut through the noise and hit her emotionally in the moment. These are words that make her smile, blush, laugh, or feel a little thrill inside. They make her think, this guy is different. I need to pay attention to him. Over the next few sections, I'm going to give you 7 specific tactics, things you can say that no woman will resist if you deliver them the right way. These are practical, powerful, and built for the modern dating world where attention is short and competition is everywhere. Master just 1 or 2 of these and you'll immediately stand out. Master all 7 and you'll become unforgettable to any woman you meet. Let's dive into the first one.
1. The power of playful teasing. One of the strongest ways to create attraction instantly is through playful teasing. Men often underestimate how effective this is because they assume women only want compliments or serious conversation. The truth is, when you tease a woman in a fun and light-hearted way, you set yourself apart from every other man who's just trying to impress her. Teasing works because it flips the dynamic. Instead of chasing her with validation, you're playfully challenging her, showing confidence and sparking an emotional reaction that she won't forget. Let's break this down. Imagine you're on a date and she's telling you about how she always orders the same drink at every restaurant. Instead of just nodding or saying, "That's cool," you can smile and say, "Wow, such a rebel, you must be living dangerously." Delivered with a grin and a playful tone, that line instantly makes her laugh. It's not mean-spirited, but it shows you're comfortable enough to joke with her. Playful teasing works best when it's about small, everyday things. Maybe she struggles to pronounce a word and you joke, "Don't worry, I'll get you hooked on phonics later." Maybe she takes forever to decide on what to eat, and you say, "Good thing we don't have to defuse a bomb tonight." It's these little funny remarks that create chemistry because they feel natural. She starts to associate being around you with fun and excitement. But here's the key. You have to balance it. Teasing should never come across as insulting or trying too hard. Keep your tone light, keep your smile genuine, and always mix in moments of real connection. Think of it as seasoning on a meal. Too much and it ruins the flavor, too little and it's bland. Get it right, and she'll crave more of your company because you've awakened her playful side. This tactic works in the modern dating world because most conversations feel boring and predictable. Women are bombarded with compliments and dull small talk daily. But when you use teasing the right way, you create contrast. You become the guy who brings energy, unpredictability, and fun into her life, and that's something she'll never resist. 2. Bold, direct statements. If you want to stand out with women, you need to understand the impact of being direct. Most men hide behind endless small talk, vague hints, or drawn-out conversations that lead nowhere. Women notice this instantly, and it makes them lose interest. A man who speaks directly, with clarity and confidence, immediately communicates strength. That's magnetic. For example, instead of saying, "So, maybe we could hang out sometime," you say, "I like your energy. Let's grab coffee this week." One is timid and uncertain. The other is bold, decisive, and shows that you're not afraid of rejection. Women respect that level of straightforwardness because it signals that you know what you want and you're not afraid to go after it. Being direct doesn't mean being aggressive or pushy. It means removing the fluff and getting to the point in a way that feels natural and masculine. If she looks great, don't mumble a generic compliment like, "You look nice." Instead, look her in the eye and say, "You look stunning tonight." Say it slowly, with calm confidence. That's the type of line that makes her feel seen and valued on a deeper level. Another way to use direct statements is when you set expectations. If you're talking to her and you feel the vibe, say something like, "You're fun to talk to." "I want to see you again." Women love when a man eliminates the guessing game. It creates certainty, and certainty is attractive. Now here's why this tactic is so effective in today's dating world. Most men are terrified of being too forward because they don't want to scare her off. But women are surrounded by indecisive men all the time. The guy who cuts through that fog and confidently tells her what he wants instantly becomes the exception. It doesn't mean every woman will say yes, but even if she doesn't, she'll respect you more for being bold. When you combine this level of honesty with calm body language and steady eye contact, you create an irresistible presence. You show her that you're the kind of man who doesn't. 3. The magic of subtle challenges. If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, you need to stop being overly accommodating. Most men think the fastest way to win a woman's attention is by agreeing with everything she says, giving her all the control, and making sure she never feels uncomfortable. But here's the problem. When you never challenge her, you don't spark any emotion. You become predictable, and predictable men are forgettable. Women are naturally drawn to men who present subtle challenges. A challenge doesn't mean being confrontational or difficult. It means you keep her on her toes in a way that excites her. Think of it like a fun game of tug-of-war with words. When you playfully resist her opinions, preferences, or behaviors just enough, you create tension. And tension, when done right, fuels attraction. For example, if she says, "I don't think you could handle going hiking with me," instead of laughing nervously or agreeing, you smirk and reply, "Handle it. I'd be carrying you up the mountain by the end." This type of response flips the script. You're not defensive, but you're not submissive either. You've just thrown the ball back in her court with confidence. Another way to use subtle challenges is when she tests you, which women often do without even realizing it. She might make a playful jab at your shirt or joke about your style. Most guys get flustered or try to defend themselves. The better move is to lean in and respond with your own light-hearted comeback. If she says, "You're too serious," you smile and reply, "Only when I'm planning my world domination." Suddenly, you've taken what could have been a negative and turned it into a flirtatious spark. The psychology behind this is simple. Challenges force her to invest. When she has to earn your validation instead of it being freely handed out, your words carry more weight. She pays closer attention, she tries harder, and she becomes more curious about you. You've gone from being just another guy to being a puzzle she wants to figure out. In today's dating world, subtle challenges are powerful because they inject energy into interactions that would otherwise be dull. Social media and dating apps have made conversations repetitive. Women hear the same compliments and safe comments daily. But when you challenge her playfully, you become memorable. You're the guy who made her laugh, made her think, and made her feel excited in just a few words. 4. Emotional storytelling. One of the most underrated tactics for creating deep attraction is storytelling. Most men rely on facts and surface-level conversation when talking to women. What they do for work, what hobbies they have, or where they went to school. While this information is fine, it rarely creates a spark. What does? Emotion. And the fastest way to spark emotion is through storytelling. Think about it. When someone tells you a great story, you don't just hear their words, you feel what they felt. You imagine the scene, you connect to the emotions, and suddenly you're pulled into their world. Women are especially receptive to this because they naturally respond to emotional energy. When you share a story with passion, humor, or vulnerability, you're no longer just another man giving facts. You become a man who makes her feel. Here's an example. Instead of saying, "I like traveling," tell her a short, vivid story. "I remember landing in Italy, stepping out into the streets of Rome, and suddenly realizing I was completely lost. No phone signal, no map, just me and this tiny alley with old cobblestone streets. A little old lady came out of her shop, waved me over, and somehow managed to get me back on track with nothing but hand gestures. It was the most random, fun adventure." Notice how that paints a picture. It's not just travel, it's an emotional experience. Another powerful angle is vulnerability. You don't need to overshare, but if you tell a story about a challenge you overcame or a lesson you learned, it builds trust. For example, saying, "There was a time I almost gave up on myself, but I pushed through and came out stronger," shows depth. Women are drawn to men who can reveal layers without shame because it signals strength and emotional intelligence. The key is balance. Your stories should be short, engaging, and filled with energy, not drawn-out monologues. Add humor when possible, and always end with a point that keeps her involved, like, "Have you ever had something like that happen to you?" This makes her part of the story and deepens the connection. In the modern dating world, where everyone scrolls past endless bios and one-liners, emotional storytelling is your secret weapon. It turns casual conversation into something unforgettable. When you make her laugh, smile, or feel a rush of curiosity through your stories, you're not just talking, you're making her experience you. And that's when attraction becomes unstoppable. 5. The compliment twist. Compliments are one of the most misunderstood tools in dating. Most men either give too many, too soon, or they make them so generic that they lose all power. Telling a woman, "You're beautiful," might sound nice, but she's heard it countless times before. It doesn't make you stand out. What works far better is the compliment twist, a way of giving her praise that feels fresh, personal, and intriguing. Here's how it works. Instead of complimenting the obvious, you highlight something deeper or less expected. Maybe it's the way she laughs, her energy when she tells a story, or the way she lights up when talking about something she loves. For example, instead of saying, "You look nice," say, "I like how you get this spark in your eyes when you talk about things you're passionate about." It's contagious. That kind of compliment lands differently because it shows you're actually paying attention. Another way to add a twist is by mixing in playful contrast. For instance, if she's dressed up, you can say, "You look classy tonight." Don't get used to me saying that. I usually reserve compliments for when they're earned. She laughs, but she also takes the compliment seriously because it feels rare and valuable. The secret behind the compliment twist is scarcity. If you're constantly showering her with flattery, it loses its impact. But when you hold back and deliver a compliment with timing, precision, and a little personality, it hits much harder. Women remember how you made them feel, and a thoughtful, unique compliment leaves a lasting impression. Another powerful angle is confidence. When you give a compliment, don't trail off or say it like you're unsure. Say it clearly and calmly, then move on. For example, "That dress works on you." Then change the subject. This creates a moment of impact without making it seem like you're desperate for her reaction. In today's dating world, where women are flooded with shallow comments on social media, the compliment twist is refreshing. It makes her feel seen in a way others don't bother to do. You're not just another guy telling her what she already knows. You're pointing out the unique details that make her feel special. And when a woman feels truly noticed, she can't help but feel drawn to the man who noticed her. 6. Future pacing. One of the most powerful things you can say to a woman is something that gets her to imagine a future with you. Not in a heavy, overly serious way, but in a light and playful way that plants the seed of possibility. This is called future pacing, and it works because the moment she begins to imagine herself with you in any scenario, her emotions start to align with that vision. Attraction often grows when a woman feels herself mentally stepping into your world. Here's how it looks in action. Let's say you're talking about food, and she mentions she loves sushi. You can smile and say, "Okay, I'll take you to the best sushi spot next week. Just don't embarrass me with your chopstick skills." Notice how that's not just small talk. You've casually painted a picture of both of you sharing a moment in the future. She sees it, she feels it, and suddenly the idea of being around you again becomes natural. Future pacing can be as simple as weaving her into light-hearted scenarios. If you're joking around about hiking, you say, "All right, when we go hiking, I'll race you to the top." Or if she's talking about movies, you can tease, "Fine, I'll let you pick the movie next time, but I reserve the right to judge your taste." These phrases subtly build an expectation that there will be a next time, which puts you ahead of the countless men who never plant that seed. The beauty of future pacing is that it bypasses resistance. You're not begging for her time or nervously asking if she wants to meet again. Instead, you're confidently assuming that of course you'll see her again, because why wouldn't she want to? This confidence communicates value, and women respond to that energy. There's also a deeper effect here. By creating shared future moments through your words, you make her feel like she already knows you better than she does. It creates comfort and familiarity, which are key ingredients in attraction. You go from being a guy she's talking to the guy she's already picturing herself doing things with. In the modern dating world, this tactic works wonders because it's simple, subtle, and fun. Instead of boring her with predictable questions or dragging conversations in circles, you give her something exciting to imagine. And once she starts picturing herself by your side, resisting that pull becomes nearly impossible. 7. Owning the silent pause. Most men think attraction is built only through what they say. They rush to fill every silence, they ramble when they're nervous, and they talk too much because they're afraid of awkwardness. But here's a secret. One of the most irresistible things you can do is own the silent pause. When you speak with confidence, then allow silence to sit for a moment, you create tension. And tension is magnetic. Think about it. Imagine you look a woman in the eyes, smile, and say, "You have this dangerous charm about you." Then you pause. You don't rush to explain yourself. You don't laugh nervously. You just let it hang there while holding calm, steady eye contact. That pause does the work for you. It makes her lean in. It forces her to process what you just said. Suddenly, the silence becomes electric. Women are highly attuned to energy. If you fill every gap in conversation, it signals nervousness. But if you can sit in the quiet, relaxed and unbothered, it communicates power. You're showing that you don't need to constantly chase her with words. You're comfortable enough in yourself to let her come to you. And when a woman feels that calm confidence, it instantly sets you apart. Owning the pause also makes your words more impactful. The human brain remembers things better when there's space around them. If you say something bold, then pause, she feels the weight of it more. If you tease her playfully, then pause with a smirk. It creates anticipation. This is the same technique great speakers and performers use. They know the silence in between words is just as important as the words themselves. In dating today, where conversations are rushed and attention spans are short, the silent pause is like a weapon. It slows everything down and pulls her into your frame. She stops scrolling mentally. She stops thinking about other things. She's focused on you. That calm presence becomes addictive. Mastering silence isn't about saying nothing. It's about creating a rhythm where your words have space to breathe. When you can speak, pause, and let her feel the moment without panic, you become unforgettable. And that's the kind of presence no woman wants to resist. When it comes down to it, attraction isn't about memorizing perfect lines or trying to act like someone you're not. It's about speaking in ways that spark emotion, create tension, and make her feel something real in your presence. From playful teasing to bold statements, subtle challenges, storytelling, unique compliments, future pacing, and even the power of silence. You now have 7 proven tactics that set you apart. Use them with confidence. Mix them naturally into your conversations, and you'll notice the shift immediately. Women respond to men who stand out, and these are the exact tools to make that happen.